Three classic legs, and it's Pietro Pilacotra for Italy, wearing the yellow hat there, who's leading the way. Up there, Jens Philbrick, Per Ellefsen pretty well towards the front, and also Oddbjørn Hjelmeset, the replacement for Thomas Olsgaard. He's wearing bib number 1, and he's moved up into the leading group. Wearing 28 there, Chris Freeman, steady through the first 2 kilometers, but exactly as you predicted, now getting himself in the race.
You know, he started off with bib number 28. I thought it would take him a little time to get up there. I think Chris really likes to race, very aggressive, and I think we'll see him up here right in the lead group, especially for the classic stages of the race.
Now, if you were, and Chris Freeman nearly in trouble there, nearly being clattered down by one of the German athletes. Who was that?
I believe it was René Sommerfeld.
It is Sommerfeld in that pink cap, just leaning in, but Chris is a big, strong boy. But that's a really good piece of early work by him to get through the traffic. So it is René Sommerfeld for Germany. One World Cup victory this year in Kavgalova over 15 kilometers. In the big championships, René Sommerfeld so far at Salt Lake City was 11th in the pursuit. But of course, it was a very different pursuit. The real guide that we've got is to the one World Cup race that we had this season, and that was the race at Ramsau just before Christmas, when Axel Teichmann was the winner, but Sommerfeld wasn't far back in 4th place. Lukas Bauer of the Czech Republic in a whitish outfit, now towards the front. As we look at them going, they've gone through 4,600 meters and also at 5,200 meters. And Pilacotra, Philbrick, Chris Freeman, Ellefsen, and looking for Hassler wearing 22, the man who had fast skis according to the speed gun. But they're all together. Bauer in the center there for the Czech Republic, wearing 4, that's Frode Estil. And this is a really complicated race for these men to run. They're coming back into the stadium. Remember, they've got one more loop of a little more than 3,300 meters to do before they change their skis. So into the stadium at 2/3 distance in the first phase. And leading the way, Frode Estil, who led out of the stadium after the start. There's our little home there, you can see behind in the row of commentary boxes for all the nations. And still a very big group together here, Torrin.
Yes, it's looking like there's about a group of about 25 up front in that lead pack, all with the chance still.
Now let's talk about equipment, because as you have said or explained to us yesterday, there have been developments.
With the boots are the most interesting development with the duathlon pursuit. Is it takes too much time to switch to go from a classic boot to your skate boot, so they've had to improvise and make a boot that works both good for both techniques. What the companies have done is gone with a boot with like a skate boot that they modify the sole and they go with a shorter cuff so that it allows more ankle flexion.
Interesting. Also another remark from Christina Smegen. She was trying out the poles in Asiago, the bent poles, but decided that she would discard those because they were not really working for her. She said yesterday, I didn't use the sticks I tested in Asiago because their angling causes me trouble in my arms and shoulder muscles. So I only use them during training, perhaps in competitions in the future, but not certain.
Yeah, I think Christina tried it out, Asiago right before the World Championship to see if that was the thing. This is not the time to be using something that you're not sure of.
Just out of interest also about Smegen, she was explaining that she's got, of course, her personal team. It is Team Smegen. It always has been. Her dad's a coach and manager. She's got a masseur, skiman, and, the victory is a credit, as she says, to the whole team and indeed to the whole of Estonia. 1.5 million people only, but a fantastic performance. So what about Chris Freeman? This is pretty good.
Oh, this is looking very good. Out front, there's Andres Verpalou. stringing out the field here.
And this is what Verpalu's got to do.
I think so. I just don't see him coming down. You know, I think that maybe the race consolidates and it comes down to a big sprint. And there's some very, very striking characters in there.
Yes, I can't believe that he's going to stay in front. But he's being pursued there by Matti Fredriksson. And those two have kept each other company already quite a bit at these championships. Then Chris Freeman, then wearing 4. That's Frode Estil for Norway, making sure that he's well to pull. Actually, just looking at Pietro Pilacotra, he's got dropped back in the pack, but he is such a good freestyler that he's still very much in this race.
I think he's in a very good position still. You know, there's that group about 10 people right there, about a couple seconds back. And if Pietro Pilacotra is in there, I don't know, he's, I think, one of the best skaters in the world any given day. And
I tell you what, he deserves a bit of luck, because I still think all the time of Nagano in the 50-kilometer freestyle race there, when he was lying in second place and really in touch with Bjorn Daly, goes off the course and then goes into a net where he gets tangled up for 3 minutes or something like that, but it completely destroyed his race. And you know, that's a real hard luck story. It's one thing to fall, but to get tangled up in a net, alpine skiers are used to it, but not cross-country skiers.
He was in there in the 30K at the Olympics too just last year. I think he finished about 5th.
Yes, he did in the 30-kilometer freestyle, so he's due a turn of good fortune. Verpalu, Frode Estil, Chris Freeman for the United States, going extremely well. Matti Fredriksson for Sweden, very much in touch. Those are the leading 4. Just checking the speed again in a moment. We'll have a look at that. We should get a second speed check. Not yet. But we'll bring that to you as soon as we get confirmation. And they're heading up now towards 7,900 meters of this 10,000 meter race. Verpalu, Estil, Freeman. Just looking at some of the others, some others to pick out. Sergei Novikov only about 5 seconds down on the pace, the under-23 pursuit champion from Bormio. Martin Kukal traveling really with Novikov, so those are 2 men we talked about. And Carl Svensson of the United States. Now, you're hoping not for 1 in the top 15, but 2, Torres.
I believe it should be really good for the U.S. today. Carl Swensson's been skating excellently. He's actually the best American skater so far this year. He's a professional mountain biker in the summer, fall, and then turns over to the skis in the winter.
Didn't he try to get into the team in Sydney?
Oh, yes. He raced for the American team at the World Championships just last October.
So, Frode Estil back in front now. He's overtaken Verpalu. 2 is Matti Fredriksson. 11 moving up Jürgen Brink for Sweden. So all the main contenders are pretty close to the action. Chris Freeman just getting shuttled back a little bit there as the pace goes on. They're all conscious now, aren't they, of the move down towards the stadium and the switch over.
Yeah, you can see just a minute ago, Matti Fredriksson playing with his boot, flipping on it so that he's ready to skate. Make that transition as quick as possible.
Yeah, we saw that with Becky Scott yesterday, but that was a little earlier. She was doing that much later as they were coming into the stadium. Now, this is going to be really interesting because the time changes. But if we base it on Ramsau, the World Cup, we're looking for changes of 28 seconds or better. The fastest in Ramsau, the World Cup, was the Japanese racer Masaki Kozu, who did it in exactly 28 seconds. But other fast changers, well, just looking down here, Giorgio Di Cento was quick. Matti Fredriksson was the 3rd fastest, 28.5. And we'll get a pit stop clock going as they come in to guide you as to the fast switchers. And the important thing really with the pit stop is to be well planned, efficient, and not to panic.
Yes, you know, if you're harried and you're very panicky, it's just not going to go well. You're going to use up excess energy, and it's very hard. It's harder than than you can think, just because you're so tired. You got about 15 millimoles of lactate acid just soaking in your legs, and you're having to change. Your mind's not there, and you just need to be in the moment and take your time and do it right, and get out there and get onto the skating.
Jens Philbrick is the man on the far side from Oberhof, and going really well at the moment.
There's a lead group of 21 people, all within 10 seconds. Christian Scheldal in the back of that.
You would expect Philbrick to do pretty well. He was 6th in the 30-kilometer classic. So again, he's another man who's having to make his presence felt in this first phase. But how is he going to do? Will he be able to sustain this sort of form in the freestyle changeover? And they're coming towards us now. They come down, heading straight towards our commentary box. They come round the bottom of the horseshoe, and then, as they say, hang a right and go to your pit. And in the pit, you'll see the skis are laid out there, ready for the transition.
They'll glide up right in between the two skis, take off either the right or left, and then take out their poles just like a biathlon skier does out of the range.
So, Philbrick, Brink, Estil, Bauer of the Czech Republic, Elofsson, they're all in the pits now. Verpalou, Matti Fredriksson, Pietro Pilacotra, Jack Mai, Chris Freeman in the top 10 going into the pits at the moment. And Teichmann just behind Chris Freeman with Martin Kugel and Sodergren. You're watching there Matti Fredriksson make the change. That's probably Frode still clicking in. This is really important. And we'll try and give you this pit stop, as I said, as they go out there. And it's the man wearing 11, that's Jürgen Brink for Sweden, who goes out ahead of Philbrick, who is ahead of Sweden's Matti Fredriksson wearing 2, ahead of Pietro Pilacotra. That's a good move from Pietro Pilacotra. He's done that extremely well to be up in the top 5, and we've already emphasized how good a skater he is. Axel Teichmann, look at that, and there are the pit stop times. I was talking about 28 seconds, and they've been training. That's impressive.
Coming into the skate leg, what are your impressions so far?
Well, my impressions, first and foremost, is don't you just love this form of racing?
I think it's excellent. Now we're seeing him. Okay, he's taking off his classic ski, sliding in, slipping into his skate boots. They're a little bit harder, the bindings, to get into. Down, got his skate poles, out of there.
And that was Oddbjørn Helmeset taking us through the transition. And it's the yellow hat of Pietro Pilacotra who has the advantage at the moment. Pietro Pilacotra from Sappada, the same hometown in Italy as the great Silvio Fauna, who was the hero of the 95 World Championships in Thunder Bay. Really, Pietro inspired by Silvio Fauna. He is, of course, a World Cup winner in his time, winning the 50-kilometer freestyle in Holmenkollen. And that's a very special roll of honor on which to carve your name.
Holmenkollen coming at the end of the season every year. It's like a tradition back in Scandinavia. The course is lined with families that stay out there all night. It's a very, very special place to win at.
And if you win, you get to meet the king, who personally congratulates you. Look at Lukas Bauer wearing 5 for the Czech Republic in there, right in the mix of it. 12 moving up is Axel Teichmann on the left-hand side of your picture. He's just travelling behind Jens Philbrick, his own teammate. Travelling behind him on the left-hand side, we're still looking. That's Matti Fredriksson. And also there, just trying to pick up who that was. Looks like Marcus Hassler of Liechtenstein. And he was the quickest freestyler in the Lahti World Championship. So that's really interesting that Hassler is going that well. Chris Freeman still in the pack there, but this is where we're also looking out for Carl Svensson, and I think he's there in that group.
He's in the lead group. There was a question if could Carl Svensson hang, and if he could, there was going to be great things happening today. To me, the biggest thing about the 10K portion of this is that the classic skiers, I don't know if they've really made themselves be felt. Maybe the pace was enough that it's thrown a lot of lactic in the legs, but I think this is shaping up to suit both the sprinters and the skaters.
Now, the first 10,000 meters, Torin, in the classic style, that was tended to be a rolling trail. What about this 10,000 meters?
So as we're going on to the 3.3 kilometer east loop, which gets that big climb that it has in the 5K loop, it's going to start climbing very, very much in earnest from about 800 meters until about 1,800 meters, a climb of about a kilometer. From there, it's more or less rolling downhills into the stadium. But I think it just like we were talking about earlier, it really presents an opportunity for somebody that wants to strike early and take it right over the hill, or those who want to just try to cover somebody's move and make something happen a little bit later.
But it is Jens Vilbrich from Oberhof who still has the advantage, although Peter Kotra just getting back, and Bauer of the Czech Republic in third place. Well, Petro Peter Kotra doing the perfect job at the moment. This is where I think he's got to stay at the moment. He's got to stay out in front, keep himself out of trouble.
It looks like he might maybe trying to string it out, perhaps even win, trying to go away. I'd be surprised, though, if the field doesn't really, truly try to cover all his moves. They know what Pietro Pillar-Cotra can do.
Chris Freeman being shadowed by Axel Teichmann. Axel Teichmann, nice and quiet, didn't get involved during the classic leg, looking for that second gold medal. Rather like Christina Smeagan yesterday when I went down to have a chat with her at the end of the race. And I think you remember we said that we thought she was smart. Well, the first thing she said to me was, I was smart.
Maybe it's a good sign that we haven't been talking about Axel Teichmann. You know, maybe he's just been that unassuming guy, but we all know what he's capable of.
Yeah.
This move by Pietro Pillar-Cotra off the front looks like it's really like this is his move. He's going to go early when other people weren't thinking about it.
Yeah, Pietro Pillar-Cotra, as you said, he's got an Olympic relay silver, fifth in Salt Lake City in the 30 kilometers freestyle. In the World Championships, well, again, he's been there or thereabouts, but his real medals have come as a member of the Italian relay squad in the championships. It's that individual medal that he so desperately wants. And I think you're looking at total commitment now. He's not going to hang about. He's going to try and get away from them. And the real question is whether this sort of pace is going to cost him, particularly on the third climb up to this monster peak on this freestyle leg. But he's really turned the screw.
You know, if he has the lead, though, I think there's something, you know, you just know that the Olympic gold, the World Championship gold is right out in front of you, and the fans can spur him on, and it's very inspiring to be out there and just race like that.
Well, it's also very interesting. I mean, in Salt Lake City, he were in the first half, the classic leg, he was 23rd. He was second quickest, only second to Thomas Ulsgaard on the freestyle 10,000 meters. That was on those tough, hard trails at 2,000 meters. So the tougher it is, in a way, the better it is for Pietro. And this is very, very determined skiing.
I have to believe for Pietro Pillar-Cotra probably knows these trails as well as anybody here.
28 years of age, absolutely at his prime. And we're going to see rather a lot of Pietro Pillar-Cotra. I do hope our director here, our host broadcaster, keeps us in touch with what's happening behind. That's a very big gap. That camera angle foreshortens the sort of distance that Pietro Cotra has opened up. And Pietro Pillar-Cotra, Vilbrich, Bauer, Brink, Chris Freeman, Teichmann, all in the hunt at the moment.
You can just see how rhythmic he stays. Even when he's making a break, able to stay like, you can just see the rhythm, the flow, and the chase pack. I don't know, they got him in their sights.
I was going to say, they've all reacted now to Pietro Pillar-Cotra as we come into the stadium. Still 6,600 meters to go once they turn the corner, which is what Pietro Pillar-Cotra is doing now. And this is a quick time as well. And there's the differential. And leading the group at 13,300 meters. Elofsson, Brink for Sweden, Hassler for Liechtenstein, having an absolute blinder at the moment. Fredriksson, Bauer. So the Swedes well to the fore. Teichmann's in there. Kukow, Chris Freeman is just being joined by his own teammate, Carl Svensson, Verpalu and Mai, the two Estonians dropping back. Novikov about 11 seconds off the pace. Looking from some others. Dolidovic of Belarus from start position number 55 in the echelon is now up into the top 20. Freddie Schwienbacher of Italy up from 30 to 21st place. And Sergei Krianin of Russia up from 44th to 25th. So there are some movers going on, but Carl Svensson from 32nd to 11th and Chris Freeman from 28th to 10th. Those two are only bettered in one sense by Marcus Hassler, who started 22nd and is now in the top 5.
It's one thing for Chris Freeman to have a great race. It's another for the whole team of America to be racing that fast. And this might be something to see.
So the 31-year-old Liechtensteiner will try to pick him out. Wouldn't that be something if he could get into the medals? There you are. This is the situation. Remember, over 6,000 meters to go.
Per Elfsen leading the chase pack. I think he's really going to try to close this gap on Pietro Pillar. He doesn't want to let him go.
Ellison definitely after a medal. He is the pursuit champion from 2001 in Lahti. Italy holding its breath and hoping that Piero Picciococcia can stay out. Look at that lead.